Seeing that it is 12:30, I will open our committee hearing. This is executive session on the 4 interim study bills that we had. Proper motions for these will be either to recommend future legislation or to not recommend future legislation. I'm going to actually open the floor for a little discussion, sort of like a mini work session before we get into the motions on these. And I'll start out that discussion by saying that we did do a full study with the air rifles for hunting game bill, which is the first on the list, 1024. We actually had a work session over the summer over at SIG with a bunch of committee members, the Department of Fish and Game, and the commissioners from Fish and Game. And they all recommended, the commission and the department recommended that we pursue future legislation with their guidelines. And so that legislation has been submitted. And I would request kindly that the committee say that that one should be found as recommended for future legislation, because both the commission and the department are interested in that. And then I will open it up to anybody else who wants to discuss any of the bills that are in front of us before we get started on the executive session part of it. Does anybody have anything to say about any of these bills that are listed, including the one I just spoke about? Okay, I will add one more bit that I had in my notes from 1530 FN, requiring Fish and Game officers to wear body cameras. There was discussion from the department on that if we were to pursue future legislation, it must be framed to have funding given to the department to cover the costs of all those, and to have the law enforcement division of the department draw a policy based on other departments using body cameras, so that there's a clear policy in place as well. And I think that the first bill was missing that kind of information. So if we are to recommend future legislation for that, we should make it clear that the future legislation should include funding and a framework of policy. And given that it might be a tough budget year, it may not go anywhere through finance, but that funding would need to be a critical part of the bill. And if there's nothing from anybody else, I'll open the floor to some motions. But actually, let's go around and introduce each other, because we've got a new clerk, we've got a sub. So if you'd like to go down and do your names so that he can get the names right for the roll calling and all that, to make it easier for him.
Representative Fred Plush, going this way.
Jonathan Smith. Lauren Fox. Jim Copal. Jim up here on
Which one are you looking for?
Mr. Smith.
We went to Washington.
Where is he?
There we go.
Oh, there you are, way up there. You've got Cofalt and then Harvey. Cofalt's there.
Representative Kimberly Abear.
Mike Willett.
And of course, me.
Yep. Okay.
Got everybody?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So we'll open the floor to motions. Is there a motion on HB 1024? I recognize you, Rep. Willett.
I make the motion that HB 1024 be pursued in future legislation.
Recommended for future legislation?
Absolutely.
Seconded by Cofalt. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, the clerk may call the roll.
Okay. Representative Smith.
Yes.
Representative Kofal.
Yes.
Representative Tudor.
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Fleet.
Yes.
Representative Willett.
Yes.
Representative Abar.
Yes.
Representative Harvey.
Yes.
Representative Fox.
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman.
Yes. I don't know if these go on consent or not. I think they just final reports. We're not going to be meeting again, so they wouldn't be on the floor. So our report will reflect unanimous future legislation. I will now open up for motions on 1148, which is relative to the Fish and Game Commission. Representative Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to not recommend this bill for future legislation.
Okay, the motion is not recommend. Do we have a second? Representative Ouellette seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Just explain the process to me a little bit. Either way, future legislation can come back.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. What we do here today is just a result of our interim studies and or discussions that we've had amongst the committee, and does not reflect on what somebody could put in for future legislation, because we cannot bind a future legislature by our decision here.
So I'm just confused about why do we even vote, but that's okay.
It's a technicality.
Okay.
In my view, it's ceremonially only and a waste of time.
That's what I was thinking, but I didn't want to say it out loud, but thank you.
Okay, the clerk may call the roll.
Yes.
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 Again, Platt, yes.
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 A ceremonious no.
No.
Yes. Okay, the report will reflect not recommended for future legislation on 1148. I will open the floor now for a motion on 1530 FN.
I'll make that motion that future legislation is needed.
Okay, do we have a second? Second. Seconded by Bear. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk may call the roll. Representative Harvey made the motion.
Thank you. Give me a second.
One thing I will point out while he's getting ready for the roll is that we are supposed to write a little blurb if we made the motion on the thing to go on the report. And unless you would like to ask somebody else for help in writing that, we just need to turn a blurb in with this that says this is why we recommend it future legislation. It needs to be finished by the end of the month, so if you gave it to us by end of the week, I think it would be fine. Myself and the assistant who's going to be putting it together. Our committee assistant. Yep, Jamie. Okay, the clerk may call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes, thank you.
Yes.
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 And Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
motion passes 10-0.
That will go on our report reflected as future legislation is recommended. And final bill for the day, 1532, relative to the landowner rights and responsibilities pertaining to game cameras and tree stands. This was the bill that just allowed a landowner to remove the game camera or tree stand instead of requiring that the landowner contact Fish and Game or law enforcement to remove the game camera or tree stand. In the instances where they might just be a neighbor, they didn't want to get involved with the law enforcement, etc. But there was a lot of confusion as to whether that was legal and all this other stuff. So the more investigation needs to be done at the drafting stage if legislation were to be recommended. Current law says that you're as a landowner, if somebody puts a camera or tree stand without your permission, that you have to contact law enforcement or Fish and Game to have it removed by them. Okay? Any discussion on, or do we have a motion on this one?
I'll make the motion that future legislation is needed.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
That was moved by Representative Harvey and seconded by Representative Abear. Any discussion on this? Not seeing any. The clerk may call the roll.
Okay, Representative Smith,
Yes.
Representative Coffin,
Yes.
Representative Trudeau,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative Plant,
Yes.
Representative Willett,
Yes.
Representative Bear,
Yes.
Representative Harvey,
I'm sorry. Yes.
Representative Frost, and Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Passes 10-0.
And again, that will be reflecting future legislation as needed. And I was just going to get to the reports that are due. It doesn't have to be long. A sentence or two is all we need. And if you could read to me the people who made the motions on each of them, I'll make sure that they know that they're responsible to give me a report or a sentence.
1532 is Representative Harvey and Bear.
So Representative Harvey would be the report on that one.
And then on 1530, Representative Harvey. I don't teach you.
They're only going to be a sentence or two, and I'll have them to you by the end of the day.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you.
1148 is Representative Smith. And 1024 is Representative Willett.
You okay with that? All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Representative Platt.
I found this to be excruciating duty. Thank you for allowing me to serve on Fish and Game.
You're very welcome. I will take this opportunity to thank all of you for a successful and great year. I think that we did a fantastic job as a committee. I look forward to seeing everybody again after the elections and next year and next term, unless you're not running again. But Representative Abar, it's been a pleasure serving with you, and I think you're the only one who's not coming back that I know of. Oh, Representative Platt. The two of you, fantastic serving with you, and I'm sorry to not be serving with you again next year. With that, we'll close our committee hearing, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the day, and good luck in the elections.